Saving the Republic, one broadcast at a time. The Clarkcast with Matt Clark.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, Ohio at the 2014 Tax Day Rally here on Liberal Charity Day. This is going to be a very interesting conversation. Harald Zieger, author of Freedom's Nightmare and somebody who actually grew up in Eastern Berlin. Is that correct, sir?
Not direct in Berlin, but East Germany.
East Germany, okay.
Yeah.
So you experienced the Soviet Union.
The German version of the Soviet Union.
But the philosophy, the ideology, the tyranny.
Yeah, it was a communistic organized regime with all... It was just a copycat of the Soviet Union. Yeah.
Now, I'm 27 years of age, and before we started recording here, you said, many people your age do not even know about the Berlin Wall, the falling of the Berlin Wall, why the Berlin Wall even existed, because it came out after the Second World War, the history behind it. And before we get into your experiences, let me ask you this question. Does it shock you that a lot of people my age have no idea of the history behind all of the above?
I wouldn't say shock. I think it is part of the ignorance in the educational system wherever you go today, since the education system is controlled by those who have no interest in that people really understand how history worked out. And in the opening of my book, I have a page where I explain the 7 miracles of socialism and why that doesn't work, and that this huge experiment done in Germany, where you had a really historical life-size, lifetime experiment, 2 different regimes, one a socialistic, capitalistic controlled country part, and the other one a capitalistic free society, both at a place where the history, the education, the cultural background, the language, all was the same. German culture, German history, German education, everything was the same, but 2 different separated systems, social society systems. And the outcome was obvious. 1989, when East Germany finally collapsed under that oppression of the people, of the will of the people, and that totally destructive oppression of human minds and freedom. It was visible that it don't work.
It was night and day.
It was night and day.
Black and white, yeah.
You had cities in East Germany which were crumbling, which were looking like Detroit today.
I'm from Southeast Michigan, so I very much know what that analogy is like, sadly.
And on one side you had that blooming, striving, extremely well and wealthy West Germany, and on the other side you had a total bankrupt, backward-oriented East Germany, where even the telephone system was based on the technology from 1939.
Now, when did you leave?
I left East Germany in 1985.
Okay.
And how that was possible is a part of the story in my book. What I tried to do with that book was, first of all, bringing that history back into the mind of the people in a very short 70 pages, how all that happened. Second World War, division of Germany into 4 military zones, the largest, the Russian zone, and the other, the 3 allied United States, Great Britain, and France, which French and Britain and US zone merged together and became West Germany, and the Russian zone became East Germany, and then how that emerged or evolved into a socialistic, communistic regime. It's in the book, and I explain that there.
And the book is titled Freedom's Nightmare. Now, let me ask you this. Let's fast forward into 2014 right now. You are at a freedom rally.
Yeah.
Which is, again, night and day compared to what you experienced in East Berlin or in East Germany. Let me ask you this question, and since we're talking about history, there's that phrase, history does repeat itself. Do you see history repeating itself right now in 2014 America?
There are too many examples to even get to all of them, but just
give me a couple.
let me start with the NSA scandal, or whatever you will call it. When I decided to leave East Germany and contacted the Austrian embassy, which is part of my story in the book, I did not know at this time that I was already under 24/7 surveillance. The reason for that was, after I finished my master's degree in Berlin, I started to work at a Navy base in East Germany, in Peenemünde, which is, for some people, a very well-known name. Hitler had his rocket scientists there. They developed the rockets which bombed London. That was a Navy base for the East German Navy. I worked there, and a East German Stasi informant from West Germany, they had those there. They had their informants over there, spies, if you want to name them, was a pastor with a West German church, was visiting the partner church in East Germany, and to some connections, we, not knowing about him, invited him for dinner to our house and had some very nice conversation. And one of the points we talked about was when I said, when I had a chance to leave this country, I would not hesitate for a second. I would just go, because it is not life what we have here. And he went back, and a year later, the message from him arrived, the East German Stasi Central Organization in Berlin. And all what he could remember was that a guy who studied in Berlin, is married, has 2 children, works on a Navy base, and drives a certain car, want to leave illegally East Germany. Because it was illegal. You couldn't just go. Many people don't know that.
No,
you couldn't just go.
Right.
You would be shot or whatever.
There were armed personnel on the
border
right,
to make sure that you don't leave. So with these 5 indications, the East German Stasi was able to filter me out of 17 million people. Now remember, There was no internet, there were no emails, there was no cell phone.
This was the 80s.
That was the 80s.
Right.
They had nothing like that, but they were able to filter me out because I wanted to do something the powers to be did not want me to do. That's the big picture. Now, fast forward 2014, the NSA is collecting all those information about all the people. And it's not about you calling your brother and complaining about the mashed potatoes last weekend at Grandma's. That's not the case.
No.
What it is about is to find out with whom you are related. When have you met whom? What are you doing? What is the organization? What is behind all of that? To put a pattern together about you. They have what I call boxes. There is a box which is called constitutionalist. There is a box called freedom fighter. There is a box called Christian. There is another. All these boxes have names. Maybe some of the boxes have several names. And they put you in one of those boxes. And whenever the powers to be, whoever that is at any time, needs to get rid of you, they will empty those boxes. Because they know who you are, they know where you are, they know who you are related to, and they know how you move around. That is Stasi today. Another example is the IRS using a law system to intimidate people who are fighting for their rights to be what they want to be on the order of the highest powers in the state, in the country. It's the same as the communists used to imprison people for making a joke about the leader of the Communist Party.
Sure,
it's the same system. That's just 2 of many.
And I'll go back to what I had asked you. Those that history repeats itself, and those that fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And unfortunately, we're repeating history because we did not learn the lessons from days past. And sadly, it's all in front of us. The answers are all in front of us, the clues, everything that's going on. And because I'm a young guy, I did not experience the Cold War. I do not have that sense of communism is bad. as if I lived it. But because I am well informed, because I know my history, I know the evils and what can come about it, which is why I do what I do here. And, sir, I want to thank you for that. And the book, again, is Freedom's Nightmare. The man next to me and the author here is Harald Zieger. And, sir, Zieger, I'm sorry. And I want to thank you for speaking with me here. Is there anything else you want to say?
The book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, so anybody who want to buy it can go there. Or I'm around here on Tea Party meetings.
Well, I'm from Michigan, so...
I will be at the Michigan PAC on May 6th, 7th, 8th.
Excellent. Okay.
I was speaking there.
Okay.
So, yeah, for Michigan people might be interesting, too. I've been a couple of times in Michigan, in Port Huron, in Vassar, in Flint. I don't remember all the names. Lansing. Yeah.
Well, thank you for getting your message out. Thank you for telling your story. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
More when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Matt Clark.